Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be joined by Shakan Pitters out on the 4th of April. Shakan, good to see you. How's everyone doing? Louis, Soggy, Peggy, everyone, how they all doing?
Everyone's good, man. It was Soggy's birthday yesterday, so obviously they went out for a nice meal without me this time. But yeah, everyone's well. Everyone's doing well.
What did you get him? 100 body shots?
He was in the gym, so we're working. I'll just get him this European title. He'll be more than happy with that.
Good answer. There's a bit of gold through the gym. Niall Berry got the English title, didn't he? A week or two ago, right?
Um, yeah, man, a great performance in York Hall as well. So he got the win there, and obviously for me to follow.
Absolutely. I just saw a photo of course, I've seen on numerous occasions. Uh, Hughie Fury and his dad come through the gym. Do you get the sparring in with Hughie and Gradus Kraus, or are you separate from that?
Yeah, I got sparring with both of them. Obviously, Gradis is a young, up and coming good fighter, representing his country from Netherlands and things like that. He's a good fighter, man. We got some good work, and same like obviously Huey looked to come back and make an impact in the heavyweight division. So it was good for me to. I've got rounds in with both before anyway. It wasn't anything new them coming, but yeah, it's always good work. Definitely good work.
What are the challenges you face when you're sparring Hughie, and is he unique to a lot of the other sparring that you've done before?
Yeah, like remember I sparred heavyweights before. I sparred like Dylan White and things as well. I was in his camp when he was meant to fight AJ for the second time round. So I learned a lot through these camps. Obviously, as them being heavyweights, they're you got to be cautious of their power and things like that. But it's and by all means, they're not trying to like knock my head off, but they are going for it. But it's different. Like I would try and more adapt to my advantages, which is more speed with heavyweights kind of thing, and things like that. Try and do that, but it's like again sparring. You're learning in it. You're going through your emotions. You're pushing. You're doing things. Working on things. So it's always a good educational process for what you have to then demonstrate on fight nights, like when I fight on April the 4th.
So am I expecting a loose language style like Hughie coming for you next week?
Yes, that's what.
Oh, you just broke up.
Yeah, yeah. What do you say?
I said, am I expecting a loose language type of style like Hughie from you next week?
Me? Nah, you know me, man. You know I'm coming. I'm coming with the aggression. I'm coming with the ring generalship and things like that. So um, I prepared hard for 12 rounds or less, so I'm ready.
I spoke to Izzy and I spoke to Adam, and I'm a little bit surprised by, I guess, some of the comments coming through regarding this fight. They're, I guess, pitching it as a make or break type of fight, almost like a last opportunity for yourself. And I get this promotional side of things, but do you feel that way? Do you feel that look if if heaven forbid it comes through with a loss against Daniel Dos Santos, that where do you stand there? Or are you not putting those stakes on the fight?
Nah, for me, look, man, like anything, it's just another fight for me. I don't put pressure on myself anyway. The fight night, the things on the fight is the easiest bit. It's the graft what we're putting in the training, the sacrifices and those kind of things what we're putting. And as I've always said, I've made it known. Like for me, it's big. It's more bigger than about it's more following obviously the recent passing of my dad and things like that. It's carrying on the family legacy in the right way and things like that. So there's always pressure in life, but I always rise to it. So there's no pressure. Obviously, everyone else can have their verdicts and views on things, and that's okay. But it's only what I wake up and feel in myself. People can look at it like that, of course. It's my world title fight. It's my fight to push on to bigger things. So like all camps leading up to this, I'll put my body through it and I'm prepared for absolute everything of winning.
Yeah, you mentioned there, of course, your father's passing. I wonder,
Mm.
look, you're no stranger to kind of dealing with grieving through training and grieving through camps and fights in the midst. Have you kind of learned from the past experiences to make sure you're kind of on focus for this fight night to pick up that title in memory of your father.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when I lost my sister, it was more 3 years back. It was more like I wasn't in that position. And don't get me wrong, everyone like yourself, and I'm sure everyone we've lost close family members or friends and things like that. So it's not an excuse, like, because life's gonna put us all through these. This is one thing that's promised is death, right? So, but nothing actually prepares you for these things until you're actually in that situation, especially when you lose, like, your parent. Like, a parent is a different kind of loss. It hits differently, but obviously, no secret, my dad was a former professional boxer himself, and I know I feel like I carry the strength in everything, knowing that, if my dad was up right now, and even if I would see my dad now, he'd want me to generally focus and get the win, like all fights. Like, I've had a good relationship with my dad, so I know exactly what I'd want me to do. So it's just me carrying on in grace and in strength with that. I've I'm human. I've listened to my body throughout the camp and everything when everything was going. And one thing, it's always been aligned with myself, my coaches and teams, and they've been very supportive as well. It's just like once we're in the gym, then it's gym and it's goal time, and whatever outside of that, whatever emotions we gotta go through. But I've been good. My dad had a brilliant send off, and I carried that in good spirit and good grace, and know that is always over my shoulder. I hear his voice over my shoulder all the time whenever I'm training and anything. So is there.
Absolutely. It would be very easy for us as boxing fans or pundits to kind of look at this fight, look at Daniel Dos Santos and just see him and view him for the fight with Joshua Buatsi. But he's rebuilt off of that fight too, and got himself into position to carry that European title. What sort of Dos Santos are you expecting next week?
The best of Santos, and but as I said, I'm only focused on myself and the version I've put forward on April the 4th, and that's the best version of me, which I believe beats the best version of him. But as I said, he's a good fighter. I wouldn't have had such a hard training camp and been so focused and so on if I don't believe he's a good fighter. But he is a good fighter, and I'm bringing my A game. Um, as Izzy said, it's my world title shot, and I've got to take it with both hands, which I will.
That European title gets you ranked in amongst all the governing bodies and organizations. But if you were to pick your shot, where would you want it to be? Would you want a big domestic fight with world title implications? Would you want one of the big boys? What would you want?
Yeah, of course I want a big name. Anyone really, anyone who's gonna um, push me forward towards the world title. But again, I've got to handle business April the 4th, and that's what I will do. But anyone, there's no, like I said, once I've got this title, I'm in the driving seat, and it'd be a thing where I'd only want a big fight, which is gonna push me onto the direction I need to be into.
I want to ask you about the light heavyweight scene and get your thoughts on some of the fights coming up. First of all, rumored fight, the potential that Callum Smith, off the back of beating Joshua Buatsi, might go in against David Benavidez. What's your thoughts on that one?
Good fight. Callum Smith's a good fighter. David Benavidez is a good fighter. Um, be a good fight. Be a really good fight. I've rated Callum Smith's skills for a long time from when he was in the super middleweight division. Before I started boxing, I was seeing what he was on. So, um, he's a good fighter, really good fighter, and I wish him all the best with it. Really, there's not much really I can. It doesn't affect me. I hope obviously he does well, but it don't affect me. But it'll be a good fight, nevertheless. Both coming off good wins and things, so makes a good fight.
You went over to America, was it a couple of years back, right? I'm remembering that correctly. Did you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
much? Did you get much sparring with the light heavies over there in the super middles?
I went to Miami. I got some sparring in with the Doral brothers. That was good. And obviously doing a lot of training out there with Sugar Hill and things. So it was a good experience. Anywhere where I go, really, when I travel, I always have like my boxing equipment and things like, and I'll try and like aim to see which is the nearest gym and things. So I'm always like trying to better myself and things like that. So, yeah, because I can have a holiday as well as earn my meals, which I always say. Earn my meals in the day and things like that, and put in a good session in while I'm on holiday. So, but yeah, I got good work in Miami. There's some good fighters in America and things like that, and a few other people are sparring out there as well. So it was a good experience and good work.
Either way you look at it, like it's one of those things that if you're going to get to the top, you're in against someone who's got a different type of style, whether it's Bivol, whether it's Beterbiev, whether it's Benavidez, all different type
Yeah.
of styles. How do you feel the British way to set up goes against or fares against those type of setups? Where do you feel your style would have its strengths and maybe a bit of weaknesses against what's out there right now?
I feel like in the American, I mean, a lot of the English coaches probably do allow it a bit more now. Before it's remember like when they're coming through, a lot of the fighters from the amateurs were very schooled in keeping our foot positioning, our positioning, our structure, how we throwing the jab correctly, and things like that. So like the UK, where boxing's very school, it's very kind of regimented. Like we they're very disciplined with it. Whereas I find being out in America, they also have that as well, but they want like the fighter's personality to flow through. So it's that fighters a bit more flashy with it. They want to enhance a bit more on what their strengths are and good at like that and things. But a lot of the English gyms, I feel like they're kind of doing things their way or their own way as well. And I spar many people down. It's compared to sparring people down here to America. I feel like a lot of their personalities probably come out a bit more like them as a fighters, them as a fighter and things like that. But it's all about um, boxing to your strengths as a fighter and being able to adapt. And that's things where I've worked on even in my absence from fighting. I've worked on a lot of my um, ways of adapting and just continuously getting better. Like it's always a continuous learning sport, boxing. And although I've been in the gym young, I started obviously having my fights late. So I'm always forever learning as well.
So were they surprised when you went over there and you weren't on the back foot, kind of just touching and using the range and actually were mixing it in with them and trying to get those big shots in?
Sound like he was there.
Is that what they were saying?
Nah, you know what it is. So like it inspires for me. It's like obviously I can keep it long range. Yeah, I work on a lot of things which I find a lot of fighters will try and you know exploit or whatever whatnot. But the only thing different in when I was in Miami is a lot of the UK fighters, for example, tend to pivot on their front foot when they're turning and they do everything off their front foot. Where in America they do a lot more things off their back foot. So their pivot off their back foot and turn their front foot kind of thing. And there's just a lot of things they do a bit different, which it's also good to use adapting your game and things like that. Because a lot of fighters, they just fight off the front foot. Yeah, a lot of UK fighters are come forward fighters and only know how to just come forward and fight off the front foot. But it's good, obviously, to know how to fight on the back foot as well. And how to maneuver and do things differently. But yeah, the spars was always good out there. I got some good rounds in out there, as I said, and everyone was happy with the work out there, so it was good.
As you're talking about the mix of the front foot and back foot boxing, because there was a lot of controversy and conversation surrounding Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron, who are now rematching very soon. And a lot of people kind of thought maybe that Liam Cameron was there to I guess get beat, but he really kind of flipped the script in that fight. The rematch is coming. What do you think happens? What do you think? Who do you think gets the hand raised in that one?
Um, I think Ben. I think what he'll probably most likely do now is probably he'll box a bit more on the back foot. Um, Liam seems like a game tough fighter, so he's gonna come forward and try and bring the fight to him. He ain't gonna try and outbox Ben. I think Ben will have obviously more succession in this fight. if he keeps it long and just boxing, go back to the fundamentals, what got him to the Olympics, really. Using his jab, keeping it long, not having to mix it in there. And that's the problem sometimes when you're coming up and you fought a lot of people who you've probably hurt, put out and things, then your next fights, you're kind of in that same momentum, thinking that every fighter is just going to fall down, and then you're going to meet a fighter who's not going to want to fall down. But I think he'll keep it long and probably just box him, I think. I think it just makes it easier night wet for him. But again, Liam Cameron is a game fighter. He's going to come forward and really try and bring the pressure to him, especially with how he knew that he probably had a bit more succession being at closer range. So I think, yeah, it's just going to be that. But I think I'll go Ben probably on points.
Talking about bringing personality to things, it seems like in recent kind of years and weeks, of course, Ben Whittaker apparently brought an egg to a press conference, or he was pictured by an egg or whatever it was, and you got Eubank Jr. who's done that as well too with Conor Benn. You've never really been one for those sort of moments, but have you ever thought about kind of reaching into that side of things? It's all promotion at the end of the day. You ever thought about kind of, I guess, flipping a table or two if it meant more eyes and more spotlight?
Really. So it's like, obviously, I've never really had any opponents try and violate me like that. If they did, I definitely would flip shit on them. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm a chilled guy, as they say. I try and keep chilled, professional. At the end of the day, like I've got family who watches things what I do. I've got younger, people in the younger generation. I visit schools and things, so it's like I'm a role model to a lot of kids and a lot of people. I carry my family's last name, so last thing I'd want to do is go somewhere and, like I said, Pitter's name's it's not. It's most likely, see, if someone's named Pitters, their family related to me because it's not like a common name like a Smith. So
Hmm.
I don't want to do something stupid and like tarnish my family name. But like I said, if someone was to ever try it on a scale of disrespect to me, then they know about it. Like that side of me would come out if I feel disrespected because I don't disrespect anyone unless I get disrespected. So yeah, I'd keep it professional. I don't need to throw nothing or do anything. All that matters is what happens in the ring. I ain't a promoter. That's is his job in GBM, to do the promoting and things like that. I don't need to promote anything. I just need to, make shit happen on the 4th of April and anytime I step in the ring.
So can I ask you then, because this is a conversation I was having, and we were talking about it on Seconds Out Live, and I was kind of saying that, look, that whole slap with the egg and thing like that, that's a fight that's got the ability to really kind of travel over into the mainstream, and people look at boxing and think of that as like, that's boxing, and you're talking about being a role model in schools, and when it can translate over into the mainstream, that's when it gets kind of kids talking, and kids might think, this is boxing, this is what is done in boxing. Do you ever kind of fear that that might translate over as opposed to the traditional way, the traditional route, the way you should act at press conferences?
I don't really think that deep into it.
Mm.
I just know me as a person, even in today's world, as far as I know, I have no enemies. I have no hate towards no one. 'Cause I don't allow hate to hold in my heart, kind of thing. I just be myself, and that's the best way and version to be. If people don't accept me for me, then that's okay. Just never for me. But I just yeah, I'll be myself all the time. Obviously, with Eubank and Conor Benn, like it's funny. I smile about it and all that because it's funny. Like you egg someone or whatever. It's funny. It's something what someone does in school or something. You heard the people egging cars and things like that back in the day and everything. But I think to be fair, with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank's beef, it weren't a thing where that just happened because it's just happened. Obviously, like Conor Benn has also they both disrespected each other and they've got their family feud history. And obviously Conor Benn's also stepped up to him and pushed him and things like that. So can you wrong him? Can you wrong him? It's like I wouldn't want someone pushing me neither, you know what I mean? As well as I'm sure Ben don't want no one egging him, but yeah, that side of things. It's whatever. But as I said, like I don't think too deep in trying to be like, oh, I have to be the perfect role model. Like, no, I'll just be myself. And being myself, hopefully, is a role model to a lot of people, especially around in Birmingham, in an area where there's a high knife crime and weapon crime and things like that. And I've grown up in an area where a lot of that crime is, facilitated. So hopefully, like people can see if I can do it, then they could make a change themselves. And that's why, like, I like visiting the schools. I get constant a lot of invites to visiting from primary to secondary schools, talking and things like that, because I feel like I'm relatable to them. And I've grown up in the community, so it's there's ways of doing better. And again, even a lot of the teachers at my daughter's school, and I drop my daughter to school to follow my journey. So I don't want to, kind of look like I'm making, and my daughter's at my fights, as you see, and I don't want to look like I'm making like, any bad choices. I'm always conscious of the choice I make, but like I said, I'd always defend myself at all times if anything was to rise like that. It's the same thing you got to do in the ring, and they're trying to hit me, so I got to hit them. My mum and dad used to always say if someone hits me, tries to hit me, I got to hit them back.
A couple of final questions, Shakan, and bringing this closer to home a little bit, just on the passing of your father. Are you do you picture yourself now as I guess the head of the family, at least closer, and then further? Or have you got older relatives still? And if it's the case, is that a role? It's a silly question here, but do you feel is that a role you felt ready for or not ready for, kind of thing? If you get what I mean.
You never feel ready for losing a parent,
Hmm.
or anyone in life. This is why I always say, and my brother made a powerful speech at my dad's funeral, and it was like, we take tomorrow for granted. We always think tomorrow's gonna come. Tomorrow's gonna come. That one day for all of us, tomorrow's never gonna come. And you've got to like really treasure a lot of the moments what you have with your loved ones, family or friends, because a lot of us, unfortunately, because of how life is, we neglect the simple things of checking in on each other, even supporting each other or celebrating each other's journeys, whether it's from work or whatever they're doing in life. People neglect it, and I've been guilty of it. I've been caught up and busy in a lot of boxing training in life where I've forgotten sometimes, just to do the simple things and that. But I try my best to. Um, but being and coming back to your question, being ready for the role, I've got my older brothers who are good role models with that, and they'll always be the older brother, and big bro is always big bro. Um, just like I said, a man trying to do my best in this life to set a good example to my daughter, and keep my dad's legacy arise, and keep pushing on the Pitters name in boxing, because I'm coming from a family of fighters. My dad obviously being a professional boxer, my uncle's a professional boxer, and my brother was a top amateur boxer. He was the better boxer. He was better than me and everything while I was playing football, and all my brothers boxed. So, and my daughter, she good with her hands as well now, but I'm just not letting her box. But yeah, it's life, as I say. We're all gonna have to ask ourselves this question one day. Unfortunately, but nothing prepares you for it. But we just get stronger with these moments and learn to cope with them better.
I'll leave the final word with you, Shakan. Friday, the 4th of April. What happens in the ring?
Shakan Pitters win. As I said, I've trained very hard, and it'll be a dominant performance, very good performance, and I'll get the win, whether that's 12 rounds or less.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for speaking to Seconds Out, and I'll be tuning in to watch your fight next week.
Yeah, man, pleasure. Always good speaking to you and seeing you as well, man.
You
And
too.
good luck with your journey as well.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.